Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time, a Wave original. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. You know what time it is. NFL football is back, baby. Look, understand, I am one of these people that's a little bit disheartened about how this country has just become football all the time. It's like it's the only sport that we care about. I think you guys look like fucking morons when y'all be sitting around watching that fake football, that preseason football, right? And you be betting on it. You watch the Pro Bowl. I think that's crazy. Week 1, man, I went over to my buddy Nick's house. He got like 5-6 games on. We over there posted up, eating wangs, baby. It was a great time. I have to say, I was kind of thrilled that we got this football back, right? I don't even necessarily know what it is that you do with the football. You know, Nick, you might need to pull up one day.
Oh, I've been to football at Nick's house. He is he's locked in for 10 hours. He's not moving.
He's locked in for 10 hours. And I have to tell you, this is the first time. It was so much going on. Like normally I can find the game I care about, lock in, and go from there, right? Like I like watching football with Nick, one, because it makes it better for coming on this show because he knows a zillion things. We're having conversation, like we're giving ourselves things.
It's your pre-show
to think about. Yeah, it's basically it, right? Like it's a really cool thing to be able to go back and forth with him about what's going on because he knows so much at all times because, you know, he be putting money on stuff. It takes you to a different place in terms of watching the game. But there were actually enough interesting games early that it was difficult. But the game that we got to, obviously, it was all a buildup for Ravens and Bills on Sunday night. Now, Ravens and Bills, for the last few years, a game like that, it's been the consolation bracket, right? And not really in a bad way, but it's been the consolation bracket, right? Like, it's kind of who go finish second to Usain Bolt in the 100-meter final at the Olympics. That's just what it's been. It's been the Chiefs and then everybody else.
Mahomes pulling up to the 3-point contest like Larry Bird.
Yeah, who's finishing second
who wants
place?
To come in second?
Right, Mahomes throwing some pass behind his back, over his shoulder, then just walking out, pointing his finger to the sky because you know that thing is going in. That's exactly what it's been for these years. Last night was different, and we'll talk about part of why it was different coming up in a little bit, but this matchup does not feel like the consolation bracket anymore, right? Like this feels like a different kind of battle. This is every year feels like the best chance for whatever team is not the Chiefs. Now, obviously, the Ravens having that chance to beat the Chiefs at home in 2023, January 2024, and they did not win it. That one really felt like their best chance and that they just gave it up. Like they had the game at the crib, which up to that point, Patrick Mahomes ain't playing no games on the road before that season, right? They had the game at the crib. And wasn't that same year, didn't Buffalo have them at the have Kansas City at the crib, Ryan, and then they lost that one?
Yeah, because that was the year they went 11-6 when
that's right.
It looked like the receivers were all double agents.
Right. And so he went to everybody's house and was just like, not yet, fellas. Not yet. Like y'all think this y'all's chance. This isn't y'all chance. And then they walk through. Okay. This is not a game, I don't feel like, where you come out of it talking about one quarterback won and one quarterback lost. Now, obviously, Josh Allen in that 16-point run they put on at the end was just unreal. Just that big old, I just don't know. I'm trying not to use curse words, but that's only the problem with trying to describe Josh Allen.
Big MFer? Is that
yes,
what you're saying?
That's all I have is some form of that, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not even just that it's cuss words. It's the big dollar ones that you can't rent. But that's all you can do with a dude that big throwing the ball like that. And he was putting it right on the dot for those cats, man. Like it was it. And NA, we got to get it right now. This is our chance. This is all we got. And they should not have won that game. Baltimore lost it, but they won it. Like the drives that they were running, Baltimore's defense is going to have to be a little something different, obviously, than it was. And honestly, Buffalo's defense is also going to need to be a little something different than it was. But that was the big fella. You know what he is? Here's what he is, Ryan. He's a big old galoot. That's a big galoot. The problem is when he talks, he doesn't sound stupid. Like you
Correct.
think of a galoot is kind of big and stupid, but he is. That's what we need to start calling Josh Allen because he doesn't really have a nickname yet, right?
No.
What if we just say the big galoot? When's the last time we called somebody a galoot?
I didn't know they were still making galoots.
Well, no. They're clearly still making them. We just began to identify them as something else. You're like, oh, I didn't know they made Datsuns anymore. No, they're called Nissans now. Like, that's all that is.
Got it.
The big galoot was moving down the field and making that happen. Look, Baltimore had a game where Lamar Jackson averaged 11 yards an attempt through 2 touchdowns, ran for 70 yards and another touchdown. Derrick Henry ran for 170 yards. Your team ran for 240 yards, and your quarterback played well, and you stopped the run, and you lost. Hey, guys, there's really only one place for you to look under those circumstances, and that place is the dude with the headphones on. Have a factoid here that Ryan has put in our document for you guys to know. John Harbaugh in his coaching career has blown 17 second half double-digit leads. 17. That is the most by any coach since at least 1991, because they ain't been counting, but for so long. Now, part of that, of course, is a function of the fact that John Harbaugh has been coaching literally since the Bush administration. The second Bush, just, don't you think we're being unfair? But he's been out there since the Bush administration. Like, some of y'all don't even want to think about what it was like when he was the coach because they was putting you out of your house. Was that too far? Did I take it into tragedy at that moment? Okay, Ryan ain't even jumping in to say nothing about it. I'm just saying.
I was thinking about what my life was like when John Harbaugh started coaching.
I'm just saying. You was driving down the street being like, damn, they're not gonna finish building that house. They just gonna stop in the middle, huh? Shit. Okay, but he's been there for a long time. But at the same time, I do think he has been shielded by the presence of Lamar Jackson. In times and ways that very often when a team like this has not gotten to the Super Bowl over this time period and they have the quarterback, you get a new coach. Like that by now ordinarily would have happened. We are now in year 8 of the Lamar Jackson experience. Keeping in mind, they was going to cut bait with Harbaugh in 2018 until Lamar Jackson came in and saved his job, right? They look tight at the end of that. Now, do I think you can blame Harbaugh for, Hall of Fame running back Derrick Henry fumbling when he did? No, I don't think that you can put that on the coach. By the way, speaking of Derrick Henry, I know you've probably seen this number from somebody else. I know you may have seen somebody else make this point, but Derrick Henry last season had the sneakiest all-time great season that I think an NFL player has ever had because Saquon Barkley had all those yards. Did you know Derrick Henry ran for 1,900 yards last year?
I did not. Last night he got into the top 5 all-time rushing touchdowns.
Yes.
And a stat that was also going around is he still hasn't rushed for more yards than he did in high school. Like I've seen that number going around because he has like 12,000 high school rushing yards.
Hey man, wasn't nobody stealing a check quite like Derrick Henry's high school coach. They wasn't watching no film. They wasn't cooking up. No. What are we gonna do today? I don't know, guys. What do you think? Maybe we could just give the ball to Derrick again.
He's sneaky become like the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of running backs.
Yes.
And like a dominant high school, college, and now pro into like he's 40 in running back years, but still looks 22.
Well, that's what I was going to say that I think is so crazy is that I think it is perfectly reasonable that this year is a Saquon Barkley regression year, right? Like you run for 2,000 yards, you take all the carries that it takes. Barkley is now, and I want to say going into year 8 or something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
he's the same draft as Lamar.
yeah, like that's about the time that you have a regression for a running back. Like it's unreasonable to expect him. And by the way, in week 1, it looked like the sort of thing that was possible. Hey, Derrick Henry is a lot older than him and just ran for 1,900 yards on 6 yards a carry, and then just came out here and started the season with 170 yards. Like all that hyperbaric chamber stuff and everything else he's doing, apparently it's worth the money. But guys, he gave up the booty at the end of that game, much like Mark Andrews had gave up the booty in the last time they played that game in Buffalo, where this stops being a discussion about the quarterback and really does become a discussion about why does your whole team seem to get tight? Or is it your whole team? Like, is that a fair characterization? The quarterback has certainly looked to be tight over time, and we have certainly chastised him and given him the hell that you deserve when you are a guy with as many receipts and the stripes that Lamar Jackson has, and you come out there and you look tight. But after a certain point, man, and it's everybody, and you put up 40 points on the road and you're up and you lose, this goes back to the coach. Like, to me, if I'm running that franchise, this is the make or break year for Harbaugh. And look, he's been there forever, man. Sometimes it's just time for you to go. It happens. I can't say that the team doesn't respond to him because they seem to, right? They made the changes with the offense. As you've asked Lamar to step up and to become a better passer, more sneaky stats. Lamar Jackson last year had 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and ran for over 900 yards. I'm sorry. We're going to answer the questions about everybody else before we start putting it back on that guy. Even if, like I say, and it's an important point, Lamar Jackson is not the reason that the Ravens lost that game, but he is not the reason why they won that game. The other guy, he is the reason his guys won the game, right? And if they lost, he wouldn't have been the reason because he also had an incredible game. Like, I find it to be so much more interesting, at least for the type of job that I have, to be able to come off of a game like that. And what we don't have to do is trying to find a way to blame or chastise the 2 excellent quarterbacks who played excellently. Like, we don't have to do that. I will say this, though, Ryan. Buffalo gonna need to figure out how to run the ball. Like the we're just gonna jump on Josh Allen's back and he's going to do everything. I will say this for the Ravens. It took them a while to build it up, but it never felt like that was their plan on purpose. These last couple of years, it's felt like this is what Buffalo has just decided they're gonna do.
Yeah, I mean, they've found a way to make him a more effective runner, but their receivers still look like non-playable characters. James Cook is good, not great. I mean, at least none of them are really hit, but the Ravens have put a lot of talent a lot of draft capital into that receiver position. And then, of course, they go out and get Derrick Henry last year.
Yeah, I will say this, though. They put a lot of capital into that, but if we run through this box score, if there's something that needs to worry you about them, Zay Flowers looks like the guy that they said he was going to be when he got drafted, right? He looked like that. But they are looking for what's left of DeAndre Hopkins to get it done.
Ugh.
2 catches for 35 yards. Rashad Bateman. So I don't know if you ever listened back in the day when me and Shannon did the radio show, and everybody's got that guy. Like, one of them for me was Kristen Michael, but the defining one for me was Darren McFadden. But this is the year that he puts it all together.
That checks out.
Yes, Rashad Bateman. He is a
one
guy
of those
that I promise this is going to be the year he puts it all together.
Kyle Pitts is mine.
Gosh, I had that feeling while I was watching snippets of that game. It's like it started looking like it might be, right?
Yeah.
It started looking like it might be. Mark Andrews didn't give him anything.
No.
In this game. So they have made the capital investments. They signed Odell Beckham a couple years ago, but what was left of Odell Beckham? They've tried. Flowers seems to be the one that has panned out, but somebody's going to have to give it because we're at this point now where their quarterback is one of the greatest quarterbacks who has ever played. He is a Hall of Fame quarterback. Like, Josh Allen is still Hall of Fame trajectory. Lamar Jackson, with the receipts that he's got, is Hall of Fame. Josh Allen, I think, is going to be there, right?
Yeah.
But
he's one MVP or one Super Bowl appearance away from being a lock.
Yes. Like this is where they are. The dude in the cap is going to need to figure out how to get this done. Because if he doesn't, they're going to look like they're squandering this. And Lamar is more than a runner. And I find most impressive about him as runner is that he takes very good care of himself, right? Like he's not running like Cam Newton used to run, where Cam Newton is running like a fullback. Like it's not that. However,
No,
go ahead.
Lamar's has figured out like he gets out of bounds, he gets down. Like
Yes.
you never really see him take a contact injury. He
Yes.
gets sick all the time.
Yes. Yes.
But-
He has the worst immune system of all time.
But he's never, you never see him like almost carted off.
I just think we need to keep in mind that his primary football advisor at every turn has been his mama. That's not a bad thing. I'm just saying that if your mama is giving you the most football advice, you're going to be getting out of bounds and you're going to be sliding. You know what I mean? Let me tell you what your mama don't give a damn about. No extra yard. Not with her baby. She might be thinking that Derrick Henry need to go out there and get an extra yard, or Mark Ingram needed to get an extra yard, but you need to get your black ass down, right? But he doesn't take those big hits as a runner. However, we saw this specifically with Cam Newton. This is the greatest example. He had the career arc of a running back because of all the miles that he had. You want to get this done with a dude like Lamar, this is really the time, because we don't have a great answer for how long this is going to go. It is not, in all likelihood, this is not going to be a 17 or 18-year career. And that's not a slight or an insult to him. That's just not how it works with guys like this. If you decide you're going to do this and play this type of quarterback, you're not going to have a 20-year. It's not going to be that. It's just not. And when the athleticism fades for him, he'll still be able to pass, but it's going to completely change the dynamics of how he plays. This is the window to get this done, all right? Either John Harbaugh gets it done, or John Harbaugh going to be sitting behind a desk as the new Jimmy Johnson. Just you watch. All right, now I had mentioned and made the point that that game did not feel so much like the consolation bracket between the Bills and the Ravens as it had before. And the reason for that is very simple. The Chiefs did not feel like champions in that game that they played in Brazil against the Chargers. They did not. I think big takeaway from that game, though, is there is no quarterback whisperer quite like Jim Harbaugh now, is there? I don't know why. I don't know how, but there is not.
And when Justin Herbert is at the peak of his powers, I mean, when things are working for him and he's hitting those throws and he has time,
yes,
I get why the nerds love him so much.
I mean, he's the king of the eye test, right? Yeah. He is, like, I made a point once that John Elway is the best eye test quarterback in NFL history. Right. And I still believe that to be true. And people were like, well, what about Aaron Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers has an eye test arm, right? But getting off the bus, just Correct. Seeing the dude in pads, ready to go play. And you could be like, well, and people hit me back with that. And they're like, well, John Elway is 6'3", 220 or whatever. Well, Aaron Rodgers is 6'2", 220 or whatever. Is it that big a difference? Look, I don't make the rules, dog.
Aaron Rodgers didn't get drafted to play baseball.
Aaron Rodgers let me tell you, no matter how much of a jerk people thought Aaron Rodgers was, that same version of John Elway, whom people thought was a jerk, wasn't nobody letting that slide to no number 25. You just weren't.
John Elway wasn't sitting for 2 years.
Wasn't happening, man. Like, but if you that was the guy, big, strong. He had like perfect physical mechanics in the arm, and he could run and all of those things. Justin Herbert fits very similar characteristics. In fact, his eye test problem is that he's a little too much of something, which is too tall because he's about 6'6", and generally terrible haircuts. There's that, but you get it. He's athletic. He's got that arm. Somebody told me a story when that draft was coming up. And because that was the draft with Tua winning that draft. Was it Joe Burrow, Tua, and Justin Herbert?
Those were the three of the top six.
The 2020 draft, right? Yeah.
And
somebody was said about the Chargers, they were like, and they talked to somebody in the organization, they're like, all right, so we're going to take a black dude this year. Like, for whatever reason, they had concluded they were going to take a black dude. And somebody was like, well, what about Herbert? They were like, yeah, close enough. That was what was relayed to me about what they were doing with that team. But
that was the year Tyrod was the starter.
That's right.
So they clearly committed organizationally.
They did. So that's like, now, of course, this story may not have been a real relay because they had a black coach at the time. Like when Hugh Jackson was the coach, people were assuming that they would just go get a black coach. And I was like, you don't know any black quarterback. I'm like, you don't know anything about Hugh Jackson, who's like building for granted quarterback is Carson Palmer, right? Like you guys have this wrong. But I just say all that to say that's the athleticism that Justin Herbert is giving you. He looks and can be whatever quarterback you want to be. The big reason why quarterback whisperer Jim Harbaugh took that job was because of Justin Herbert. And when you think about it, Jim Harbaugh is the guy who drafted Colin Kaepernick, who was a very good football player for a decent period of time. And they are very physically similar. Colin, of course, is just a different level of runner. But when you think about it, kind of tall, tall, spindly in some ways, like he's that guy. And he looked like that guy in that game against the Chiefs. And the Chiefs, after y'all told us that it was going to be different, looked a lot like the Chiefs of last year, where it's Patrick Mahomes throwing to some dudes that they went and picked up in front of the Home Depot. Like, y'all do anything today? Y'all want some work? All right, come on down there. Xavier Worthy, who, if you're going to be a football player that weigh like 20 pounds less than Bomani Jones, you got to be able to make them kicks from 60 yards. You understand what I'm saying? That dude got hurt because he ran into his mans. That's all that happened. He's just not that big, right? And we have seen kind of smaller guys who can make it happen that way, but he's not a bowling ball type at his size. He's just really, really fast and a good football player, but he's just not that big. Rashee Rice is now out on suspension. Travis Kelce, he's not young.
Older than me.
Okay, there we go. I couldn't quite remember. Is he 36 now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I shouldn't say it that way, but yes, he's an old man. Like, to be out here still playing the football, he is an old man.
Still playing the football in a 3-point stance.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
They don't have a great Kareem Hunt, by the way. He's still in the league all-star. They're still giving him the ball. They tried to get a running back with Edwards-Helaire the other day. You know who their leading rusher was in this game on Friday night?
Patrick Mahomes.
By a wide margin, I will note. Hollywood Brown had a catch for 49 yards, Ryan, and the rest of the catches 9 for 50. Like, this is not encouraging what they're breaking out here in a very tough division.
And the thing that they didn't look like last year and the year prior is their defense looked really bad.
They did. And their defense has looked excellent at points. Now, look, maybe what we're talking about here is the Chargers are really good, and the Chargers may have the best coach in that division. I think we would all agree at this point that is the best coached division in the history of coaching in divisions, right? The only guy that hasn't won a Super Bowl is Jim Harbaugh. That's it.
Might legitimately could possibly have 4 coaching Hall of Famers.
I think that when all is said and done, they will all go into the Hall of Fame. I think Andy Reid, is a no-brainer. I think Sean Payton, hey man, you win a Super Bowl with the Saints. That's like when LeBron James won that championship in Cleveland. I understand why he think that count for like 4 or 5, you know? Like that's against all odds, man. Right fast, I'm gonna just say this. They had a game on Sunday between the Saints and the Cardinals, and I was looking in the crowd, and buddy, I can't imagine caring enough about the Saints, the Cardinals, or football to pay money for that.
Kyler Murray, Spencer Rattler doesn't get your butt in the seat.
Hey, Kyler Murray looked pretty good in that game. I will have to say. I will say this for Spencer Rattler. And I don't want to make this about me, but I think you'll understand where I'm coming from. I feel bad for Spencer Rattler in the sense that he is still having it held against him the way that people perceived his behavior in a docuseries that was done when he was in high school. And I just think the idea of I don't think it's fair to hold it against anybody what they were in high school when they're a sophomore in college. Like, you go to college, you get to start over. You get to be a whole new person. I was at the Super Bowl this year, and Spencer Rattler, we were at some party. I think it may have been the New Heights party. And we were there, and he just stopped and saw me and was like, hey, Bomani Jones, Spencer Rattler, how are you? And he took his hand out. And the thing that struck me about that, Ryan, is if there's anybody that don't need to introduce himself, it's Spencer Rattler. You know what I mean?
He's been, especially to someone like you who follows recruiting, he's been
Right.
in your life for because he was a big time recruit.
He was that guy. I mean, he's the number one guy, right? But the thing for me was, I was like, you don't need to introduce yourself to somebody who I actually took that as, that's not the guy from the docuseries. This is a level of humility, which also for me was, I'm an old man because I'm like, wow, he seemed like such a nice young man. now I have these thoughts when I see people. It has nothing to do with what it is that we were talking about. But for the Chiefs, here's what's crazy about the standard that the Chiefs have gotten to. They have won their division 9 times in a row, right? Keeping in mind that this takes it back to the Alex Smith days. They've won the division 9 times in a row. I believe the only road playoff games Mahomes has played was that year where they had to go to Buffalo and they had to go to Baltimore, right? Like that's it for them going to play road playoff games. This run has been so unreal. If they fall down to winning a wild card or simply winning that division but not getting the number 1 seed, it's going to feel like the wheels are coming off, right? Which makes it difficult for me to have a really great grasp on how good they are at a given point in time. Because the standard that they're held against is truly unlike any standard that I can think of, right?
It's 7 straight AFC championship games.
The Patriots did this.
Right.
Like they're the only team that I can think of in that way. But the thing about the Patriots was, even when the years were coming, the Patriots weren't great. We only had one time when we thought it was over for the Patriots, and it was 2014
against the Chiefs.
And they had that game against the Chiefs, and they got their doors blown off. And I'll never forget, man. Me and Dan LeBatard sat up there on television, and we buried them. We were like, this is what it looks like when it all falls apart. Yada yada yada. Da 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 da. 4 months later, Malcolm Butler made the interception at the goal line, and they won the Super Bowl again. And it was just like, oh, never mind. It's kind of like how we said Steph Curry was better than LeBron, and then they took the 3-1 lead, and we didn't start saying anybody was better than LeBron after that. Like, we was petrified of going in that way. That's what it was with the Patriots. But with the Chiefs, they don't look like those guys, man. They don't look like it. And Mahomes, I don't know how much of this is coaching. I don't know how much of this is the quarterback. But as Brady declined, and the decline was obvious, and in 2014, if you were watching, like, he did not look like the same guy. He somehow got it back together, but he didn't look like that guy at the time. But I never felt like Tom Brady was reduced to nickel and diming all the time, like truly to get it done. Although I guess at the end it felt like that. But the part that's striking me about this is, how are you guys still nickel and diming it with the greatest quarterback I've ever seen? And you're never going to convince me it's because he can't do it. Because when he did have to dial it up, man, he made some big, deep throws, right? Like, I think it was at Hollywood Brown, that big one he made, rolling right, flush out of the pocket where Khalil Mack was on his keister and he got it done. It's not like we're seeing flashes. He hasn't gotten worse, but they have. And they got to figure this out real soon, because the truth is, as much as I say it, if they just get to be a wild card, we'll think the sky is falling. Missing the playoffs is totally on the board. And one thing that's going to be tough for them this year, while we talk about the coaching, I don't know how many of you watched parts of this game or saw any of it, and I don't blame you if you did not. The Raiders are not going to be good because I think their defense is not going to be good. But Geno was dealing. Geno with Chip Kelly? I just say that to say, them wins that you felt like you could count against the Raiders, 2023 notwithstanding, Chiefs fans, those wins you thought you could count against the Raiders, you can't. This is going to be a tough go for them. And that is why Ravens-Bills doesn't feel like the consolation bracket, doesn't feel like it right now. That felt like a battle between the two teams that are going to be playing in the AFC Championship game. We'll see how confident I feel about saying that later, but even now, I can't believe I'm saying that about what the Chiefs have been. And that's how they looked in Brazil, which is to say, kind of like boo-boo. Ryan, we got some DraftKings action.
We sure do. Football is back, and so is your shot at big wins with DraftKings Pick 6, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Very easy to play. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats from breakout rookies to elite QBs. Looking ahead to tonight's game, Bears playing the Vikings. I like Jordan Jefferson over 81.5 receiving yards. Go Tigers. And Caleb Williams over 2017.5 passing yards in his debut with Ben Johnson. This season, play your player instincts. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code Bomani. That's code Bomani. Play $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 bonus picks. Make the call, ride the upside in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus award is non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. All right, Bo, let's get to some other action that happened in NFL Week 1. Tough loss for your Lions. They go down 27-13 to the Packers. Goff sacked 4 times, but that's your team. Bo, what happened?
We got a problem. We have a very big problem. And the very big problem is, what's the center's name? Frank Ragnow?
The one that retired?
The one that retired, yeah. Can somebody go to his house and get him to bring his ass back? Because the interior blocking was abysmal. Look, Micah Parsons was giving Sewell a bit of the work. Yes.
And he only played not even half the snaps.
Yeah. Like, that was a thing, right? And the Packers might be the best team in the NFC. Like, either Micah Parsons or Rashawn Gary is your other guy coming off the edge, right? Like, there's a thing going on, and obviously offensively they look good, but I thought the Lions defensively, I felt okay about that, right? Like, I do think a big problem for the Lions last year was pass rush, and there wasn't enough of that. They did a great job stopping the run, though. Like, they decided they were going to stop Josh Jacobs, and they did that, and it wasn't like the Packers were out there putting up video game numbers, right? Like, that's not what happened. But what did happen to me for the Lions is they can't run because they can't get a push up the middle, and if that's going to be the case all year long, they're cooked. Like, this isn't going to be about Ben Johnson. This ain't going to be about Aaron Glenn. This ain't going to be about none of that. You've got to get that push because what they have at quarterback is the rich man's Kirk Cousins. And what I mean by that is if everything is good around Kirk Cousins, I think it was Scott McLuhan, used to be the GM at Washington, made this point. If everything's great around Kirk Cousins, you can win some things. And I think what we saw by the end of Kirk Cousins' time in Minnesota was if everything's great around him, you can get to the division round of the playoffs.
There's a reason the Shanahan disciples got Kirk Cousins their guy.
That is correct. But
for 10 plus years now.
Right. But you can only get so far. With Jared Goff, you make everything great around him and you can at least get to a Super Bowl. I've seen it happen, right? You could probably win a Super Bowl if you did everything great around him. That interior offensive line situation is the opposite of great, right? And so if they can't solidify that run game that was such a big deal for them last year, no. You don't have a quarterback who can overcome. That's not the kind of guy that you got. And you've got a mentality of a team that requires you to hit people in the mouth. Y'all gonna need to start hitting some people in the mouth. Otherwise, they're going to miss the playoffs. And it's gonna really stink because I'm actually invested in this. Like, I have moments like when Brian Branch, they called that Brian Branch made that interception and took it back to the house, and then they called those 2 penalties. Dude, the mood swing I had from when he got in to seeing all the flags, I was just, this is not.
That's how you know they got you.
That was exactly how I fully knew they got me when J-Mo threw that goddamn interception last year during the playoffs.
They just locked him up too. He's going to be in your life for a couple more years.
Whose idea was that? You can't give him no money up front. What are you talking about? You got it.
Some people have to be on 1-year deals forever.
For a life.
I think the thing that it's interesting to me that you pointed out is you talked about the identity of that team, and Dan Campbell is on that Marshawn Lynch run through a MFer's face.
Yes.
Right? Like that is his whole philosophy of coaching. And again, when you're struggling center guard, that's not going to be as much of an option.
Bad news, man. It's bad news. I'm nervous. I'm really, really nervous.
All right.
Hold on. But at least there's the Bears.
Next week you got the Bears and Ben Johnson coming back.
That schedule, though, we're going to test the resolve of this team. Because if you go look at that, they got like the Bears and the Browns. I think they got the Bears, the Browns, and the Giants. And then other than that, it's like Vikings, Ravens, Chiefs.
Yeah, I think they have the AFC West and, obviously their own division, which might be the toughest in football.
Well, they have their own division. Oh, they got to play the Bucks. So yeah, here's what we're looking at now, just so you know, for my guys. Bears at the Ravens, Browns at the Bengals. Okay. Okay. At the Chiefs, Bucks at home, Vikings at home, at the Commandos, at the Lions. I think that's when they get, the bye's not then. Home for the Giants. Thanksgiving against the Packers. Yeah, the bye is after the Bucks. I'm sorry. Can we talk about something else?
All right. Speaking of people making new destinations, Aaron Rodgers playing for his new team. He threw for 4 touchdowns in a 34-32 win against the Jets. After the game, he took a bit of a victory lap. Let's take a listen.
You spoke about the meeting with Aaron Glenn on McAfee a few months ago. Beating him, is there significance in that, since he basically told you to your face that he didn't think you were right for that team?
Yes, that's what he did.
So there's significance in beating him for you?
I was happy to beat everybody associated with the Jets.
Hey, man. We all acknowledge that Aaron Rodgers is a bit of a grump. Can't blame him for that one at all. They did make him fly across the country to fire him.
To break him up with him, yeah.
That did happen. They made him get on the plane to shake at him. They could have easily got on the plane to go to his house to shake at him. No. They brought him in and they canned him. And look, they both look to be better off without each other. I felt like that it may have been the best Justin Fields game I had ever seen. Like, he looked more like a poised, composed, ready to do it quarterback than I think that I had seen him look in his time.
They're just leaning. They're leaning into his strengths. It looks like he's playing at Ohio State.
Yeah, but look, the best version of Justin Fields that we had seen is the one that ran for 1,200 yards. Okay, yes, he had the 2 rushing touchdowns. Whatever, 16 for 22, 218 yards, a touchdown, no picks. That's 10 yards an attempt, and it looked different. Like, this was. I watched that game with my man Josh. He is a Jets fan, and I have been watching Jets games intermittently with him for the last 9 years, and I've never seen him this happy about the Jets, and that was in a loss, right? Now, of course, that fumble on that kickoff felt very familiar to him. Like,
yeah, that's the world he resides in.
That was Jetsy. That was real Jetsy. Like, Brian, that reminds me. How long you been living here?
I think we moved here the same year because it was so 8 or 9 years now.
Oh yeah, so this is football season 9 for you. There are 2 football teams in this city. It is year 9, and we've seen one good football season from the local teams.
Yeah,
that year the Giants won a playoff game
with Daniel Jones.
With Daniel Jones, yes, like that is. By the way, somebody looked good.
Yeah.
Somebody looked pretty good on Sunday.
Someone looked good in a new spot.
Yeah, but he looked good in part because the other team looked bad. They looked like they was going to fire their coach week 1. But anyway, Aaron Rodgers was dealing, Jack. Like, there were moments where it still looked like this new version of Aaron Rodgers, but that was 4 touchdown passes, and he looked good. Like, if he can look anything like that for the rest of the year, like maybe this is his last hurrah, and ain't no telling what's the word I'm looking for? Homeopathic remedies that he might have, come across in the offseason. If he's going to look like that, and we got on the Steelers, like the best quarterback you could get was Aaron Rodgers. This is what you were playing for. Okay. Hey, if he looks like that, they go win a playoff game for the first time since, they ain't won a playoff game since Obama.
Yeah, it's been a long time, and you assume Mike Tomlin's not going to be giving up 32 points every week in and week out.
No, but hey, man, that's them New York Jets, baby. Like we'll see what it looks like at the end of the year. But hey, man, my man AG, and I'm saying it's my man H-Town, North Side, no less. If Aaron Glenn got the Jets looking like this, hey, man, shoot, he keep that going. Fireman Ed might even vote for Zoran. Well, let me tell you, if there's anything that I can say with confidence about Fireman Ed, he does not live in the 5 boroughs.
He does not live in the 5 boroughs.
I assure you of that.
Even if he did, even if he somehow, trekked from Staten Island to.
That's exactly what I was about to say. If he is in one of the 5 boroughs, I know exactly which one it is.
I promise you, he was not casting a vote for Big Z.
No.
All right. Anyway, last story here. You alluded to this. The Dolphins got blown out by Daniel Jones and the Colts. They lost 33-8. Daniel Jones, the Colts became the first team since 1977 to score on every possession, according to ESPN research. Tyreek Hill noticeably upset on the sideline. Bo, your thoughts?
One, I don't know how long they can allow him to stay on that team. Like you and I were just talking about the unceremonious end for Howard Stern.
Yeah.
And the truth is, if you are serious, you people who have never worked in radio don't quite get this, but this is the truth, man. If you are serious and you decide that you're not going to bring Howard Stern back, it can't be no farewell show.
No.
You're going to hate that show. That farewell show is not going to be pleasant.
It doesn't matter how many people buy Sirius to listen to that farewell show. It's not going to be worth it.
Broke people act a fool on their last radio show, let alone a man with hundreds of millions of dollars. You just can't let some people stick around while they're grumpy, right? This is just the nature of the business. Tyreek Hill, who they did not make the captain, everybody seems out on him. Y'all had to get rid of him. Like, bringing him back is a little bit crazy, given what the circumstances are. And it's week 1. He's on the sideline looking like this. They've gotten beat by 25 points 3 times in the 4 years that McDaniel has been there. I think most of us like him. We would like to see it go well for him. But that experiment seems to have run out of road.
There's nothing wrong with being the offensive coordinator for the 49ers or the Lions next year.
That is correct. Now, the problem, of course, here is some of this is Mike McDaniel, but his wagon has been hitched to a guy that I feel very confident saying just ain't got it. And that's Tua. Like, I just don't. If everything is going right, he can do it. Is not simply about the surrounding talent. It's about like the execution. If everything is running on time, he's got this for you, right? Otherwise, not so much. And that's before we talk about, maybe out here trying to kill him. Like we haven't even gotten to that point, but that was a staggeringly embarrassing performance to come out of the gate.
For a team that the rumors were the vibes are bad, and then you get blown, the doors blown off you by Daniel Jones.
Yeah. And look, the rest of your division, the Patriots, they didn't win against the Raiders, but I still think a lot of it came out like, could have been worse.
Right.
Yeah. The Jets, not too shabby. Miami could not have been worse. Could not have been worse, but at once it couldn't have been worse, but also didn't feel like an outlier performance.
Right. It didn't feel like we're a game where everything goes wrong. You have bad fumble luck. You drop you referenced, drop a kickoff or something, but it was just they did not. It's never good when you're quitting week 1.
Hey man, did you know that Zach Wilson is wearing number 0?
No, I did not.
Okay, look, man.
Yeah, that's he's still in the league.
Yeah. At age like 26, right?
Right.
Look, I don't like that they let people go willy-nilly with the numbers. Like, I know that feels like an old man take, but it's chaos. Like, I don't dig that. I don't.
We live in a society.
Yeah. Right. I don't dig it, and I think can they wear number 0? Nah, I don't think we should have allowed that unless you were like Jim Otto 00, maybe, right? Like, I wasn't here for this, but wearing number 0 is not quarterback behavior. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't think showing up to the press conference wearing all them funny looking clothes is quarterback behavior either. Like, I think the quarterback is a different role. You can put yourself in a different way. If you are wearing number 0, that's personal foul behavior. You understand what I'm saying? That's commissioner's list behavior. Like, that's like, number 0 is for wild cards. You're not supposed to be no wild card. Like, that's, you know what that is? That's a number for characters.
And Zach Wilson's a lot of things. He's not a character.
He is not a character. No. He is not. Or at the very least, even if you are a character, like Cam Newton didn't go full character until after he was somebody's quarterback.
Right.
The quarterback is not supposed to be a character. I saw Kyler Murray wearing some funny looking pink pants coming in the studio, and I was in the stadium, and I was like, hey, man, It's not quarterback behavior, brother. That's character behavior.
All right, Bo, we've opened up the voicemail line, to anything and everything. Got some good submissions this week. Let's take a listen.
Hey, Bo. I'm a childless man like yourself who's a little older, younger than you, but still a little on the older side. My friends are now starting to finally have kids. I don't interact with a lot of children in my current state in life. However, I feel like kids are ruder than they used to be. And I was wondering if you felt the same, or if it's just like every generation thinks the younger generation is a little ruder. It's mostly that they just cut in front of me. I don't know what it is, but I feel like with this group of children more than others, adults are just kind of invisible to them.
That's an interesting question. Ryan, there was a lot of subtle shade.
Yeah. I don't know if you're saying kids are ruder or parents are worse.
No, I'm talking about all that shit before. I'm a little on the older side. Not as old as you, but
I didn't think we had. I think I took that personally situation.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, oh, okay. I guess I'll answer your question. I don't know, man. You got to remember, kids love me. I am. I don't know why. I am everybody's favorite uncle type of situation with kids. And they might be a little ruder than they used to be, but you know what they still are? Kids, right? You give them that look, they still know what that look means. And especially if they ain't never really got it before, it hits them from a stranger growing up that they kind of know a little bit though. They respond hey, because they know what they're not supposed to be doing. That is one of my favorite things about kids before they're old enough to talk. Ryan, your son's about 2. You know exactly what I'm talking about. They know when they're not supposed to be doing something.
Yes.
And when you catch them in it and just give them that look you're not supposed to be doing that. You see it wash over them
My son is not old enough to be rude, but he's certainly old enough to know when he's not supposed to be doing stuff.
Yes.
Mostly because he thinks it's funny.
Yes. But they give that peek around the corner. They still do all of that stuff.
They got the smirk, yeah.
Yep. And when you give them they chill out. And sometimes they chuckle and laugh about it. I remember the first time with Nick's daughter, she was small enough for that. She did try to run some of that game on me, because of course she would think she could run game on me. I give her the world, right? But she tried to run that game on me, and I just looked at her like, what did you say? And she was just like, okay, tried it. just seeing if it would work.
Well, here's the thing: when they're 2 and you're the grown up, you gotta be the winner in that situation.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can't
be outsmarted. You can try not to be outsmarted by a 2-year-old.
Yeah. That's the thing. You can't negotiate with terrorists. Just throwing it out there.
All right, here's our next one.
What's up, Bo? This your boy Javon, coming out of the southwest side of H-Town, by way of Louisiana, Lake Charles, I-10 by 10. Don't stop and Vita. You already know what it is. Man, I got a question for you. I know you grew up in the mid-'90s in Houston on the north side, but what are your thoughts on screw music? I've never heard you talk about it. Maybe you have before, but I'm just curious. Do you like it? What do you think of it? Do you still listen to it? You grew up in an era where that was basically coming about in Houston, so I'm just curious your take on it, on screw music, and if you like it, and how do you feel it represents Houston? Appreciate it, man. Love the show.
Hey, Ryan, it's a little bit of you, a little bit of me, right? You coming from Lake Charles to Houston. Yeah. Of course, my part of Houston and his part of Houston are damn near as far from each other as Lake Charles and Houston, but that's a discussion for another day.
That's like Manhattan and Brooklyn.
Yes. So, the screw thing got popping when I was in high school. I want to say Pimp to Pen came out when I was in 10th or 11th grade. I know it's 95, and those of you who are not from Houston, draped up and dripped out, know what I'm talking about. 3 a.m, got the burner out the stash spot, that joint, right? Not for me. Not for me. And the reason it's not for me is actually fairly simple. I think it's obvious if you listen to Screw. Couple things. One, I ain't never sipped no lean, right? The setting for this music is just always been a bit lost on me. But there are things you chop and screw to write slow jam. I'm with it. Like there are songs that you can chop and screw that I'll go for. My thing with Screw Tapes was it was an absolute and total lack of quality control. They let anybody get on these songs, rap it. They be like, man, he freestyling. I would hope so. If you took the time to write that down and edit it, what are you talking about, right? And so they let anybody in there on them songs talk about anything, talk about nothing. So when you get cats that can like actually rap and get on it, and so right, so like when the Swisher House stuff started coming out and they had more cats that could rap, I'm like, okay, I can see what's going on here. But it was just, it also was, and this is for me, and this changed over time. Like the Mixtape Messiah series, when Chamillionaire came out there and was like, hey man, we got to step the game up. And you look at how much better rappers from Houston are now than they were then. Like that was a much more impactful piece of media than I think anybody gives it credit for. Because it was like, look, man, the rest of the country out here laughing at us. I don't know if it was going that far, but like as somebody who knew him back in the day, I knew exactly where he was coming from. I knew what he was into. I knew all that stuff, right? I totally get it. But for me, it just got to a point that as I'm listening to it, that I understand that locally there is a bit of a rejection of what was considered to be quote unquote hip hop versus rap because of the rejection that Southerners felt from those people toward their culture and toward their music. Like, it's the Pimp C line, these country rap tunes. But let me tell you what Pimp C had: incredibly high quality control. Right? Like that was in place there. And so for me, them Screw Tapes, they were just cranking them bad boys out because they were like, man, these cats don't care if anybody can rap. Just give them some beats and that'll do the job. And me, as somebody who did like all that hip hop and was into different stuff, I just wanted the music to be a little bit better. But when it was good, it was good.
All right, here's our next one.
Hi, Bo. Enjoy the show. Just wondering from your perspective at this point in their respective careers, whose rap legacy is more salvageable? Is it Kanye or is it Drake? You ask me, both of them have taken so many self-inflicted L's, it's impossible to see how either one of them would be able to get back on the winning track in any way. And I don't see a path for either way, of either of them. So in your opinion, who do you think has the better shot?
Nah, brother, I don't think anybody's winning this contest. One, well, especially for Kanye, he's too old. He's too old, and I don't know how he could put together anything dope enough that the people that are out on him would care to check it out, right? Like, I don't think he has anything left, and I need to be careful because I haven't listened to anything he's made in 7 years, at least at this point.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. I think the last thing I checked out was the record he did in Wyoming, the Ye joint. And so I was just like, all right, hey, man, it happens. Sometimes you ain't got nothing left, right? With Drake, I don't know if he can get it back. Like, part of what he had was a bit of a vibe, or as the kids say, an aura. I don't know if he can get it back, but he's also 39 years old. Like, he might have to go away for a long time and come back with like one of them, like that LL Cool J album that just came out that he did with Q-Tip. Like, look, man, the old dudes all came back and wrecked shop this year. They all came back and wrecked shop. LL Cool J, the Clips joint ain't my favorite, but they came and they did it. And there's other examples of these cats that came back around. That Raekwon album, not my favorite, but not bad. I still need to listen to the new Supreme Clientele. But people of that generation came back and made a lot of really good records. But these are guys that go back to a time where the thing that was most important was how good you could rap. And Drake is a really good rapper when he's on it, but it was the vibes, man. Like, that's what he was selling as much as anything else, was vibes and lifestyle. And people don't believe it no more.
And like you said, we talked about these people who are old. Rap's a young game. And, after 10, how many of these great rappers last past 10 years, right?
Yeah.
10, 15 years. I mean, that's how far Kanye and Drake are going back.
Yeah, look, man, Drake has had a very, very long career. Like, the expectation that you could keep this going at this point is asking for a lot out of this dude. But, hey, man, once people stop believing you, it's hard. Only man to come back from us not believing him was Rick Ross. It's hard to come back from that. And people just don't believe it. And I don't think that he matured in a way where, look, his base, man, the people 40 years old now. And only people that still want to hear what Drake used to be or what Drake has become is suckers.
All right, here's our last one.
What's going on, Bo? It's Jamal from DC. Not sure if you came across this yet, but Stars has a documentary about Magic City. And so just curious to see if you have any interesting or podcast appropriate stories about times that you may have been to Magic City. Long time listener, appreciate it. Keep it up. Bye.
The first time I went to a gentleman's establishment, I was 18 years old, and I went to Magic City, and I didn't know anything like that was possible. The second time I went to Magic City, I was 21 years old, and I spent the last $35 I had to my name at Magic City. I should stop there. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this. Oh, mama, listen to this, fool. We do this here 3 times a week and sometimes a little bit more. Ryan Brumley handles everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Remember, follow The Right Time. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. Buy this merch. We'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.